All right, everybody, welcome to Meta Week. So all this week, I'm going to be going over meta base class builds for PvP. So today we're going to be doing Nightblade. Throughout the week, we'll be doing other classes. We'll be doing a base Stork. We'll be doing base Dragonite. We'll be doing base Templar, so on, so on. I want to get every single thing done because I know a lot of you guys have been asking, hey, what about these base class builds? Well, let's get them out there for you because I want to just be able to provide whatever we can for PvP content, especially on the meta end, on the more fun side, whatever it is. I want to be able to provide whatever you guys want. So today we're going to be doing Nightblade. So without further ado, let's get started. We're going to be a Khajiit on our Nightblade. Khajiit, in my opinion, is best in slot as far as races go for Nightblade because they just go hand in hand. Nightblade works very well off of crit damage, and Khajiit gives you crit damage percentages for your passives. So overall, Khajiit, in my opinion, is just best in slot for that. So you definitely want to do that. As you can tell, we're not even building into critical damage or critical percentage. I'm sorry, we're not building into critical percentage at all, and we're already at 44.5% crit percentage. Like, that's insane. Like, Nightblade passives are amazing for a crit percentage, so you definitely want that. As far as our attributes go, we're going to have 13 points into magic, 19 points into health, and 32 points into stamina to give us a max magic pool of 20.1k, max health pool of 32k, and a max stam pool of 21.2k. We're also going to be using Jewels of Mizril as our food. For those of you guys that don't know, it's going to give us increased stam and magic recovery by 357, and also it's going to increase our max health by about 4,000 as well. Also, we're going to be using tripods in this build because, in my opinion, tripods are just best in slot for this. You want that extra little bit of recovery, and it just helps boost your overall resources pool as well. All right, so moving on, let's look at our, we're not done yet at this kind of stuff. We're also going to be Vampire Stage 1. I just like to keep Vampire Stage 1 on here just in case. I don't do anything with it. I don't really like using Vampire anymore. I just find it to be not as great, so I just don't really use it ever. But I just keep it on here just in case. Also, Shadow Mundus to increase our overall critical damage and critical healing as well. So let's move on to our gear. Our monster set, you guys know it, it's a meta set. It's going to be Balorg. Balorg is going to be our heavy helmet in Reinforced, and it's also going to be a Balorg medium shoulder in Impen. Balorg, for those of you guys that don't know, it's going to give us a line of weapon and spell damage. And then the two piece is when you use an ultimate ability, you're going to gain weapon and spell damage equal to the total amount of ultimate consumed. And you're also going to be getting physical and spell penetration equal to 23 times the amount of ultimate consumed. So I'm going to bring out my calculator on my phone real quick. And this is how basically that translates for those of you guys that don't know. Say you have 200 ultimate and you use your ult. You're going to get an extra 200 weapon and spell damage for the next 12 seconds. And then you're going to get the 200 times 23 for the penetration. So 200 times 23, that's going to be an extra 4,600 penetration for the next 12 seconds as well. That's a lot of damage. Like, that's a lot of damage right there. So being able to do that as you ult and then for the next 12 seconds afterwards, your enemies are going to be on their back bar and they're going to be just struggling so much because this set is amazing for your overall damage. Moving on, we're going to be using One Piece Trainee. It's going to be heavy reinforced. That way we can get our maximum health as high as possible. Also, I always use heavy reinforced. That is the best way to maximize your overall resistances on this build. Also, we're going to be using Wretched Vitality. Wretched Vitality is going to be our back bar set on here. It doesn't really matter which one you do, back bar and front bar. You're proccing them both regardless, so I don't really ever concern myself with that. So don't really worry about that too much. I just prefer Wretched on the back bar. It's my personal opinion and it's what I like. So we're going to be using medium Wretched Vitality hands in Impen. For those of you guys that don't know, Wretched Vitality is going to give you a ton of recovery. The 2-3 piece is magic and stam recovery. The 4 piece is weapon and spell damage. Then the 5 piece is while in combat, applying a major buff or debuff with a duration to a target is going to grant you 260 magic and stam recovery for 15 seconds. The same thing with a minor buff or debuff. It's going to give you 130 magic and stam recovery. So if you apply an ability that gives you both a major buff and a minor buff, it's going to give you about 400 recovery for the next 15 seconds. And then that can always reapply. So that's so much recovery. Also, for those of you guys that don't know, major buffs and minor buffs. So this is our back bar right here, because this is the only place where we can activate it. So right here, we have something like major evasion right here. So that will activate the major component of our Wretched Vitality. Right here, if we do, let's just do a refreshing path instead. That's going to give us major expedition, right? So that's going to do the major condition of our Wretched Vitality, but it's also going to give you minor endurance and minor intellect, which is going to apply the minor part of the Wretched Vitality. So like, I think that's the perfect example. So whenever you want to refresh your Wretched Vitality, apply Refreshing Path. Just remember that. Refresh Wretched, Refreshing Path. It's that simple. So Wretched Vitality, amazing set. It gives you so much recovery. And it's one of those things where you just don't ever need to worry about resources because of this. I love it so much. Rallying Cry, it's going to be our front bar set on here. And like I said, it doesn't matter whether you do front bar, back bar. Doesn't matter in my opinion. You're fine regardless. Rallying Cry, what it does is it's going to be in a light divine sash, is what we're going to use. I always use Rallying Cry as a one-piece item on my body pieces, and I always do it on my sash because you always want the light armor to be on the smallest piece possible, because I just like the medium armor passives better personally. That's why we have so much medium on here. So Rallying Cry, it's going to give you 2 lines of crit chance. It's going to give you a line of max magic, and then while you're healing, critically strikes a member while Battle Spirit is active. Battle Spirit can only be active either in Cyrodiil, a duel, Imperial City, or Battlegrounds. Only those 4 places. You cannot get Battle Spirit anywhere else. So don't try like testing this in like your home, your house in PvE. It won't proc. So don't even try that. Like if you want to test it out, go into one of those 4 places. And once you get that, you're going to gain 1650 crit resist and also 300 weapon and spell damage for 20 seconds. That can be reapplied after the 15 seconds is up. So only when you have like 5 seconds or less on your Rallying Cry, that's when you can reapply it. So it's kind of tricky to kind of keep it up sometimes, but you'll be fine. You'll be more than fine. Also, that does the 1650 crit resist and the 300 weapon and spell damage. It does reduce the more players that you get into your group. So try not to use it when you get like a whole Zerg going, because it's not going to be too effective. Moving on, we're going to be using a heavy Wretched Vitality legs in Impen. And then medium well-fitted boots in Wretched Vitality as well. Our Mythic is going to be Monomyth. I love Monomyth. Monomyth is one of those things that it's so good, especially with Nightblade, with all that crit percentage, that crit damage. For Monomyth, we're going to be using a protective trait on here with a weapon and spell damage enchantment on it. What it does is Monomyth gives you while in combat on your primary weapon, you're going to get Major Force and Minor Berserk. So that is a ton of damage, especially with Major Force. You are hitting so hard whenever you do crit. And guys, we've got 44.5% crit percentage on here. We're critting often. I'm telling you guys that right now. We're critting often. So that's great. That being said, you do get minor vulnerability on here though, on your front bar. So that's the only downside to it. But I'm telling you guys, the pros seriously outweigh the cons on here. And then also on your back bar, you're going to be getting a major protection and minor vitality, which is great for your overall tankiness. Gives you a little bit extra heals as well. I love it. And then also you're going to get minor timidity, which does reduce your ultimate over time as time goes on, but it's very low. And like I said on the first part of this, the pros seriously outweigh the cons. I cannot tell you how much it does. So it's amazing. Also, for our other 2 pieces of jewelry, it's going to be 2 Rallying Cry pieces of jewelry. Both are going to be protective. Our ring and our amulet, they're going to be protective with weapon and spell damage enchantments on it. And then our front bar, we're going to be using Rallying Cry dual wield axes. Main hand is going to be Nirnhoned with a poison damage enchantment on it. Offhand will be sharpened with a disease enchantment on it. Well, the reason why we're also using Rallying Cry axes in the Twin Blunt Blade passive for dual wield, it does increase your overall critical damage. So between the axes, Khajiit passives, the CP that we have, and then also the Major Force that we have on Monomyth, that is a lot of critical damage done. It's phenomenal. Back bar, we're going to be using Ice Staff of Wretched Vitality, defending with an increased weapon and spell damage enchantment on it. It's just kind of standard at that point to use Ice Staff right there. I like to have one set of dual wield and one set of Ice Staff. That way I can heavy attack on either bar, and if I'm either trying to get more stand back and get stand back on my front bar, or if I want to heavy attack and get some magic back, I could be on my back bar and get some magic back by heavy attacking with that Ice Staff. So let's move on to our skills. Our main spammable is going to be Surprise Attack. Surprise Attack is a great spammable. It does probably the most amount of damage for any spammable in the game. You're going to be doing 7,100 physical damage and applying the Sundered status effect every time you do it as well, which is phenomenal. Then that's not even when we're buffed up. Trust me, we get that number to be a little bit higher too. Also, if you strike an enemy from the flank, you'll be setting them off balance. So once you do that, that'll also critically strike, which is great because, you know, your crit damage is high. And then also when they're off balance, you can just get a heavy attack in and they'll get stunned because of that. So that's phenomenal. Shadowy Disguise is going to be our next skill. This is going to be making us cloak. It's going to be making us invisible, so it's great. Also, it's going to be guaranteed that our next direct damage attack will critically strike, so that's awesome. And then also, it's going to be giving us minor protection on either bar, which is going to reduce our damage taken by 5%. So that's great. That's great. That's great. That's great. It makes us a little bit more tanky, and I'll use as much tankiness as I could possibly get. So it's awesome. We also have Power Extraction on here. Power Extraction is my preferred way to get our source of major brutality because this is a nice little AoE cone. So if somebody's trying to roll dodge a little bit, you can hit this and it'll go through roll dodge. So it's awesome, but really we're not using it for that most of the time. We're not really using that as a source of like main damage because it does do a lot less damage than surprise attack. So we don't want to do that. But what it does do is it gives us a source of major brutality and sorcery, increasing our weapon and spell damage by 20%. And then what's really cool is this morph also gives us minor courage, so it increases our weapon and spell damage by 215 as well. So it's a base 20% and then add an extra 215 on top of that. So it's great. It's great. So it's awesome. I love that. It's overall so much better than the other morph of this. I like this a lot for PvP. Also, I've got siphoning attacks on here. If you feel like your sustain is fine, like you're more than welcome to do it. I'm more doing this because I just wanted a kind of just in case kind of thing. You know, sometimes when you're getting hit hard and you're getting hit a lot by a lot of people, you do want actually a little bit of recovery, you know, because you're roll dodging a lot, you're sprinting a lot, all that stuff. But siphoning attacks, phenomenal. It's a basically infinite source of sustain, and between that and Wretched Vitality, your sustain will be more than fine. Merciless Resolve is the highest hitting ability in the game, and if you can combo this right with your other abilities, you're going to be deleting people's health bars. This is going to give you both Major Prophecy and Savagery on both bars, increasing your weapon and spell critical by 2,600, so that's great. Also, whenever you light and heavy attack, you're now going to generate a stack of Merciless Resolve up to 10 times, and then fully charged heavy attacks are going to grant 2 stacks. So that's good, but it's not really worth it in my opinion. So when you're at 5 or more stacks, you can consume 5 stacks to fire a Spectral Arrow that's going to deal 14,000 magic damage, and it'll heal you for 54% of the damage if you're within healing range or within melee range. So that's great. Like that damage right there. Imagine, guys. So a great combo to use when you don't have your incap is you want to hit them with a surprise attack and set them off balance, right? And then when you heavy attack into Merciless Resolve, it's going to give a guaranteed hit on them, basically, more or less. So Merciless is great. It's such a high form of damage. I know we all know about the incap bow proc combo. It's great, right? And now that we have 2 procs of that, brothers, it's insane. And now we have incap on our front bar. Incap is just phenomenal. Like this source of damage is just so high. And then also what's really cool about that is it's going to also make your enemies take 20% more damage from your attacks for 8 seconds, which is great because taking 20% more damage on a Merciless Resolve proc, yeah, I'll take that any day of the week. Also, if cast with 124 or more ultimate, you're going to instead deal a little bit more damage, which is great. And you're also going to stun the enemy, which is a just overall great way to just get your burst down. And I'm telling you guys, you're just chunking people's health bars. Moving on, we also have on our back bar, we have Phantasmal Escape. This ability is so stacked. Make sure that this is active at all times. It's on a 22-second duration, so make sure that you're always having this active. What you do is you get major evasion from this, so it reduces your damage taken from AoEs by 20%. Awesome. Also, activating this ability is going to remove all snares and immobilizations to you and grant you immunity to them for 6 seconds. So if you're locked down, you can't move, activate this ability, boom, you're out of there. You're fast. You're gone. Also, while active, taking direct damage is going to reduce the cost of your next roll dodge by up to 10%, up to a maximum of 100%. Basically means that your next roll dodge is free, more or less, when you get to 100%. And then that effect can stack once every half second as well. So basically every 5 seconds, if you're getting hit with direct damage constantly, you're going to be able to get a free roll dodge, which is so much damage mitigation. It's great. Also, we have Refreshing Path, which is going to make a little corridor of shadows, which is awesome. For 12 seconds, while in the area, you're going to get Major Expedition, which is great for your movement speed. You're going to get Minor Endurance, Minor Intellect. So what that does is that gives you increased stamina and magic recovery by 15%. So that is also really buffing your overall recovery. So between Wretched, Refreshing Path, and Siphoning, you're not running out of resources on this build. It's awesome. Also, you're going to be healing for a little bit of health every 1 second inside of it as well. So if you really want to be able to proc your rallying cry when you're on your front bar, activate this, make sure you hit your resolving vigor, and just go on your front bar. You will proc it very quickly. You've got a very, very high critical percentage. You will get that. You will get that rallying cry proc very quickly. Also, we have Resolving Vigor, which is, you know, standard. Nice 5-second heal over time. It's also going to give you Minor Resolve, which increases your physical and spell resistance by 3,000. Also, Healing Soul, this is going to be our burst heal. So whenever you just are taking way too much damage, activate this ability, burst heal, right back up to full health. It's awesome. Also, it's going to give you a little bit of health over time over the next 10 seconds. So it's also another way to kind of get your Rallying Cry to proc. Also, you're going to be getting Major Vitality for 10 seconds, increasing your healing received by 12%. So all that healing increased. So between that, also Monomyth on your back bar, you have Minor Vitality, Major Minor Vitality. Your healing is getting increased when you're on your back bar. It's nice. Back bar, we also have Elemental Susceptibility. The reason why we have this is because it applies Major Breach to your enemies, reducing their physical and spell resistance by 6,000. Also, every 7.5 seconds, the enemy is going to be afflicted with the Burning, Chilled, and Concussion status effect, and that is something that you do not sleep on. That extra damage is so high, and also that Major Breach makes it so that you hit a lot harder. And then finally, we have Soul Siphon as our back bar ultimate. It's basically just a just in case, like an uh-oh kind of ability, where we are just doing this just to be able to make sure that we can heal ourselves and stay alive for a little bit longer. Like, yes, we also get Major Vitality here, but we also get that from Healing Soul, so it's not really too necessary. So really what it does, it's kind of that extra uh-oh heal. If you want to, you can also use something like Vampire Ult if you don't want to use something like this. I would probably prefer Vampire Ult, but I feel like this was a little bit more close to the meta for what people would want to run. So yeah, anyway. All right, so moving on to our champion points. This is going to be our last thing for this build. This is going to be Fighting Finesse for our blue slottables, Mastered Arms, Untamed Aggression, and Ironclad. Our red tree is going to be Survival Instincts, Rejuvenation, Pain's Refuge, and Fortified. And our green tree, what we really care about, because really the slottables aren't that great for green tree. I mean, Sustaining Shadows is good for this, so like do slot that. But what's really important is Breakfall, reducing your fall damage taken by 35%. You want this. Rationer, Liquid Efficiency are very good as well. And if you're going to level up skills still, Discipline Artisan is a great way to just have a bonus passive to that. And that's really the entire build. I hope that you guys enjoy. I'm going to put some BG content for you out there right now, because BG's is the kind of best form of PvP right now, which is weird to say because I don't even think it's that great. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Guys, I hope that you enjoy Meta Week. This is going to be a fun week. I'm really excited to do all this stuff. I hope that you guys enjoy. If you do me a few giant favors, hit that like button for me if you haven't yet. Hit that subscribe button for me if you haven't yet. And just let me know what build you're most excited to see this week. Whether it's Nightblade, whether it's Sork, whether it's DK, let me know what build you're very excited to see. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Later.
Spend all my days wasted looking for something that ain't fading. And all this time, it was right in front of me. I've spent all my days wasted. I spend all my days wasted looking for something that ain't fading. And all this time, it was right in front of me. I spent all my days wasted.